Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, really dynamic. This incredible urban evolution that's happening right now. You see these dramatic changes unfolding in cities really all across the globe. And specifically, today, we're taking a deep dive into India's urban renaissance. It's this period of pretty significant green and smart city transformations that are underway.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is how these transformations are fundamentally reshaping the landscape. It's not just the physical buildings, but, how cities actually function and how they serve the people living there.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've pulled some really valuable insights directly from excerpts from India's urban renaissance, green and smart city transformations.
Right.
So our mission really is to pull out these, well, pretty fascinating developments, and maybe how they might just shape your future. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, innovation. Let's talk about urban infrastructure, materials. Think about the actual foundations, right? The source highlights some, frankly, groundbreaking material science from IIT Indore. That's the Indian Institute of Technology there. They developed a new type of concrete, and it promises gets us an 80% reduction in co-Euro emissions.
Wow, 80%.
80%. And a 20% cut in costs. I mean, that sounds almost too good to be true. What kind of impact could something like that realistically have, not just in India, maybe globally?
Well, that's the crucial thing, isn't it? The technology itself, it's groundbreaking, no doubt, but its real power, I think, lies in the potential for, developing nations to maybe leapfrog past some of the carbon-heavy building mistakes we've seen elsewhere.
Right, skip a step.
Exactly. Imagine the global impact if this kind of material became, well, standard. It could fundamentally reshape how we build things. But, and this is a big but, scaling it up involves huge challenges. You've got logistics, you need regulatory approvals, you need to train a massive workforce.
Yeah, the whole ecosystem.
Precisely. The biggest hurdle might not even be the concrete itself, but actually transforming this entire deeply entrenched construction industry.
So it's way beyond just the lab result.
Yeah.
It's systemic change we're talking about. And it's not just what's underground or in the foundations, is it? It's also what's above ground, all around us. Delhi, for instance. The source mentions they've started burying overhead power lines.
Yes, that's a big one.
It is. And it's not just about making the city look, nicer, although the improved aesthetics are definitely a win.
Sure.
It's a major safety upgrade, obviously. But it also radically improves grid resilience, especially during extreme weather, which is, let's face it, a critical concern for cities now.
Absolutely critical. And it frees up valuable urban space, too.
Right. That really speaks to the sort of holistic approach many cities seem to be taking now. It's not just about pure function.
No, it's function plus livability plus safety, and also building cities that are just inherently more robust, more adaptable. These things that seem small, like burying tables, they actually add up to a much more resilient urban experience overall.
Okay, so moving from materials, let's talk connectivity, future planning. How are cities thinking about growth? Jaipur, for instance, the source mentions ambitious plans for satellite smart cities.
Satellite cities.
What really struck me as forward-thinking was their plan to connect these new hubs using new metro lines. What does that tell us about India's long-term vision for handling this, rapid urbanization? Is this kind of approach maybe a global model in the making?
That's a really good question. What's interesting there, I think, is how they're trying to integrate the new growth with existing infrastructure plans from the get-go. They're trying not to just let sprawl happen uncontrollably.
Which is often the default, right?
Often, yes. So this kind of integrated planning, it's crucial for managing the kind of rapid urbanization India is seeing. And yeah, it certainly offers valuable lessons globally on how you might grow more sustainably. It's about building interconnected ecosystems, not just islands.
Makes sense. And speaking of metros, the source mentions the Kolkata Metro, specifically the Kidderpore station construction, resuming after long delays. What do these kinds of delays tell us about the real-world messiness of these huge infrastructure projects in a place like India?
Yeah, those long delays, they often reveal the immense and complex interplay of things like land acquisition, coordinating between multiple agencies, keeping the political will going.
Right, it's not just engineering.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It takes sustained effort for these really ambitious projects. So the delays aren't just, hiccups. They're kind of symptomatic of the huge logistical and bureaucratic hurdles you face. But the fact that it resumed, that signifies a pretty unwavering commitment, I think, to modernizing urban transit. And that offers lessons for similar big projects anywhere, really.
And that persistence, it seems, isn't unique. Bhubaneswar is also mentioned as updating its metro strategy, planning new underground routes. It suggests this constant adaptation, doesn't it? Planning isn't a one-and-done thing.
Absolutely. Cities aren't static things. They're like living organisms,
Mhm.
constantly evolving. So Bhubaneswar updating its strategy, that just reflects a dynamic approach. They're trying to meet future demands for, efficient, sustainable transport, learning from maybe past experiences and adapting as they go.
Okay, let's pivot a bit now to the green side of green and smart. Sustainability metrics, green initiatives. Uttar Pradesh, or UP, is taking a really interesting step. They're going to officially rate cities based on their green cover.
Ah, using geospatial mapping, right?
Exactly, using mapping for accurate assessment. What's the real impact, do you think, of making something like green cover a measurable metric, like a performance indicator for a city?
I think it's a powerful move. It really pushes towards environmental accountability. By making green cover measurable, you incentivize cities not just to, protect the green spaces they have, but to actively expand them.
Right, gives them a target.
Precisely. And these spaces are just vital for air quality, biodiversity, urban cooling, which is becoming so critical with climate change. It shifts things from just sort of aspirational goals to actual, tangible, reportable progress.
And talk about growth. The source highlights this incredible five-fold increase in EV charging stations across India since 2022. 5 times. That's a huge jump in infrastructure for sustainable transport.
It is. It's a remarkable rate of growth, absolutely. It shows a clear commitment to EVs.
How?
However, and this is where we need to connect the dots, the source also gives us a critical counterpoint.
Okay.
Despite this fivefold growth, there's still only about one charger for every 235 EVs.
Oh, right. So quite a ratio.
It is. So it raises this really important question about the pace of infrastructure development compared to how quickly people are adopting EVs. It's a bit like, building a fantastic new highway, but then realizing you only put in enough gas stations for a tiny fraction of the cars.
Yeah, the demand outstrips the supply there.
Massively. The challenge isn't just building more chargers, it's building enough to actually support a truly widespread EV future. And this gap, it highlights a fundamental challenge, not just for India, but really for any rapidly urbanizing economy, making sure the infrastructure keeps pace with adoption, especially for these big transformative technologies.
That's a really crucial point, and it perfectly brings us back to that overarching theme from the source material. Every major city is transforming, and so is your future. So for you listening, whether you're already living in a bustling city or maybe thinking about moving to one, these aren't just abstract ideas floating around.
No, they're directly shaping your daily reality, your commute, the air you breathe, the look and feel of your neighborhood. And it's not just about India either. These developments, they set precedents, they illustrate trends that, echo globally. Given everything we've talked about today, the concrete, the buried cables, the metros, the green ratings, the EV chargers, what patterns or lessons do you think kind of emerge that could inform urban planning, maybe even just daily life in other parts of the world? It really forces us to consider that dynamic balance between the incredible progress we're seeing and the, frankly, immense ongoing challenges of scaling these solutions up.
Yeah, exactly. That EV charging example is perfect. The growth is fantastic news, but that ratio 1 to 235 that reminds us that progress is often, well, it's a marathon, isn't it? Not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And that persistence we talked about, that blend of, ambitious vision and just the daily grind of making it happen, that really seems to define India's urban transformation right now. We've seen the innovation in materials, the strategic expansions in connectivity, those measurable steps towards sustainability. It's a dynamic blend.
It is. And that blend, it creates quite a powerful vision for the future of cities, I think.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to maybe chew on. If, as the source says, every major city is transforming and your future is transforming right along with them, what might the continued acceleration of these green and smart initiatives in cities worldwide, what might that truly mean for our daily lives, for the very structure of society in the coming years?
Yeah, what kind of world are we actually building here? Brick by sustainable brick, metro line by smart connection?
A provocative thought indeed, something for you to explore further.